Hello, everybody. Welcome to day 10 of our Create a Christmas broadcast here at Amy Sews. I'm Amy from Amy Sews, amybachman.com. I don't imagine a lot are going to be popping on today because I was just on Embroidery Garden's website today. She's doing all her giveaways and she just gave away the scan and cut. Some lucky lady named Ginger just won. So we are so excited about that. And we are giving away a scan and cut too. So if you go to amybachman.com, the link is right in there. It's in the past links. I forgot to put the link in the comments again. I'll see if Ed can pop it in there. Good morning, Denise. So when you're done with me, run over to Reen and see if you can't win another prize. So super excited. So if you were on yesterday, or what's nice is day 1 through 9 are posted on Amy Sews YouTube and Facebook. So you have 30 days to watch them, which is great. This is what we did yesterday. We made a little playing card holder. So if you have a little person that can't hold the cards or, got a little arthritis in your hands, these are wonderful gifts for those who want to make them for maybe an assisted living facility or a family member. It's super, super awesome. So hi, Bob. Jim's on board. Good thing Jim's here. Hey, Vicki Clark from Wild and Wonderful West Virginia. Hello. Hi, Colleen. So today's project is, oh, dang it. I forgot. I was too busy watching Reen. I forgot to get the other towel. So we had the red towels that had printed scallops on them and they sold out like instantly for Christmas. And so of course I couldn't get any more. That's my life story. And so Jim recreated it. My wonderful sewing elf, Ed, just posted the giveaway link. Thank you, Ed, for listening. To register to win the scan and cut if you haven't already. So Jim recreated how to do it on a towel using fabric and a sewing machine. I'm going to show you how easy it is to do scallops in your sewing machine. Most sewing machines have it. So here we go. So this is a fabric border. The little hearts are satin and the scallop is satin stitching, but you're going to use the stitches in your machine to create those perfect scallops. So that's what we are doing today. So whether you are embellishing the hem of a little girl's dress, a tea towel, a bath towel, the edge of a tablecloth would be stunning. Anything along those lines is a nice way to use some of the machines stitches in your machine. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is grab a towel, something you're going to put it on, right? And you're going to take a strip of fabric about 4 inches. Again, your width is your width. And you are going to press it with fusible web. Okay? Just leave the fusible web on your fabric, right? We're not going to tear it off right away. If you tear it off, what's going to happen when you try to stitch it, it's going to be sticky and stick to your feed dogs and your throat plate, and it's going to be all wonky, right? So the first thing we need to do is set up for, it's hiding under my lid, for a straight stitch. But I want to show you guys the difference here. So here is my all-purpose foot, right? And it's totally flat on the back. Those are scratch marks from my feed dogs. So totally flat on the back. And this is what we're going to use to make the single stitch, straight stitch scallops with. This is an applique foot. This has a channel underneath of it, a space that lets those decorative stitches fly through there, or glide through there very easily without getting choked up. If you try to do a heavy satin stitch with this foot, it's just going to get all clogged up and miserable. This foot right here, your applique foot, with the tunnel underneath is what you need to use when you are doing decorative work, decorative stitches, decorative everything. Every machine comes with one. You may not know you have a different foot, right? So over here, my machine's going to blink just because of the graphics. So this is the Janome 15,000. It was the previous top of the line before the beautiful M17 came out. We have 4 of these that are pre-owned at a great price. 9x14 embroidery, 11 inches in the throat, gorgeous sewing. So in my quilt menu, I chose this scallop stitch right here. And the scallop goes that direction. I'm going to hit my mirror image button. I want it to go the other direction. And I lengthened it. Zoom out a little bit. I lengthen it to the width at 9 millimeters. I have a 9 millimeters. And what does that mean? Just excuse the chunk in the back. The 9 millimeters has to do with your throat plate, right? So if we come over here, this space between here and here, this little oval right here determines how wide of stitches you can make. Usually entry-level mechanical machines are 5.5 millimeters. There's some 6 millimeters out there. There's some 7 millimeters out there, and 9 millimeters is the largest in the market. So, and when you have a 9 millimeter machine, the reason the manufacturer gives you a straight stitch throat plate with a single hole is so there's less play when you're piecing or doing fun things like that. All right, hey. So what we're going to do is we're going to sew this scallop. And I want to give myself plenty of room. Get my threads out of there. Needle threader's fixed, by the way, for those of you who've been watching me be tortured with all of that. It's fixed. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and just sew some big scallops. And so your job is not to push or pull. Your job is to keep your fabric parallel and straight. So you can see it's doing these big swoopy scallops. If you want to finish on a end of a scallop, right? You want to start and finish at the end of a scallop. What you're going to do is, hang on, I'm going to make you dizzy. Most of you have a little button that has a dot on it. When I select that, some of you use your reverse button. It'll stop and tie a knot and finish that scallop. Okay. For some reason you don't finish that scallop and you need to start over, you're just going to, well, on the Janome, I'm just going to touch this button right here and it knows to start at the beginning. The rest of you may have to reselect your stitch and readjust it. So you can see the straight stitch right there, right? See this big scallops right there, okay? And through the magic of my elf, my scallops are trimmed. Thank you, Jim. So you're going to trim right next to that stitching, right? So at this point, you're going to remove your webbing and you are going to place it on your towel. And it's going to look like this. Jim just mocked up this nice little piece of cotton. He even double hemmed it, so it's pretty. So these cotton towels, I will tell you, when I am using my good stemware, I love just this single layer of cotton. Once it's been washed and dried, I don't use any fabric softener or anything and things that what I consider a rag or a towel. These are beautiful for delicate stemware to dry everything. So here is our scallop. So now we have to do our satin stitching, right? So I'm just going to choose a standard satin stitch. I don't know why that camera's even on today. All right, let's zoom in a little bit. So I'm just going to go home, back to my menus. I'm going to go to my decorative menu. I'm going to choose satin and probably not where I need to be. Those are fancy satin stitches, not the regular satin stitches. I'm just going to go to decorative and we're going to go to applique. And I have several appliques to choose from. We are just going to choose a standard, hopefully you're not blinking at home. That's dizzying. A standard satin stitch. I'm going to make it 4.5 just because that's what I like. I think Jim you used 4 or 4.5. I can't remember. Jim was kind of 4 to leave me notes. So any questions? Jim's on board. All right, so now we're going to start to stitch our towel. Now we are stitching points, right? Which means we have a lot of pivoting to do. I'm going to turn on my automatic foot pivot if you have that. Change the feet. Put on my applique foot because I want this to go beautifully. The other thing you need to check on your applique foot if you have a little mark. Mine has a little red dot. And what that does is that lets me see where my center is. So you're going to say, am I going to applique this half on the towel, half on my applique fabric. Am I going to do on my applique fabric and barely touch my towel? I'm staying on my applique fabric because then I do not need stabilizer. This is stable. This is not, and I don't want to have any uh-ohs. So if you don't have an automatic knot on your machine, you can just do what I call the push method. I just kind of clamp down with my fingers and make it sew in place a little bit. So here's where we're at. This scallop, this is an outside corner. My needle falls on the outside. I'm going to pivot, take a couple stitches, and I'm just following that scallop. But what I'm not doing, I'm not pushing, I'm not pulling, I'm letting the feed dogs do the work. That's why you buy these beautiful machines. So as I kind of work my way inside the scallop, it's an inside corner, so the needle's going to go on the inside. Now, those of you who like applique, traditional machine applique, and I will tell you, I do. I know I have everything at my fingertips, embroidery, everything, you name it. But I enjoy traditional applique, and we are starting a applique tea towel of the month with Sharon. And every month you're going to get in the mail your towel, all your fabrics, your paper patterns, your SVG files. So if you have a scan and cut, a Cricut, a silhouette, it doesn't matter. It's all going to work. And she's going to post a little tip video on making the towels. I don't know if Ed's still listening, but my towels are out. You'd think I'd be prepared, wouldn't you? You would really think. So I will tell you, pivoting is one of the most important things you can do for your appliques. If you strong arm your way through all these different points without pivoting, you're going to get gaps and gapes, and you're going to get issues, right? So Jim's satin stitch was a little tighter than mine. You can see my points are just as nice, by the way. And so that is a personal preference. That's applique, the satin stitch density, right? So see these little guys right here? These little satin elements. I love these. And we underuse our decorative stitches. There is no other way to say it. We underutilize it. So I'm going to go back to my wiggly jiggly screen. And we're going to go home. I'm going to go to my decorative stitches. And so if I look at my little satins, we have these little satin balls, right? And if we go back to our traditional menu, we have these pictograph stitches, and they have all these beautiful little elements, right? So you don't have to use, everybody has a little satin heart. I think that is the gold standard. If you have a electronic sewing machine, by all means, you have what you need. But as you scroll through, like we have these little eyelets, they're going to look like little stars, right? Find a stitch that you like. And I recommend something satiny. I'm sorry for the dinging. I wasn't even thinking about the dinging. So we have these little guys that look like stars, right? You can see I have multiple stars chosen here. All I have to do is tell it I only want to sew one. And most machines have this option where you only get one in a programming mode. Okay. So the fun thing between this, I'm just going to do this on a scrap. Jim may want to finish it and use that on something. So now I just wanted to sew one, right? So right now it is programmed to sew just one. And you're going to want to do these separate. It's going to tie a little knot. Okay. Now I can sew, and let me just, so you can see what this looks like. You're going to want to audition these stitches, right? It's kind of hard to see because the color is so much the same. I'll sew the next one on the cream part, so you can see that. All right, so I'll sew it on the creamy part so you can see better. But you're going to want to audition these stitches Now, this is also something that I call tack sewing or tacking a quilt. If you were making a little crib quilt or a lap throw or something along those lines, using these little satin balls are definitely the way to go. So you can tie a knot before, tie a knot after, and then you get these beautiful hearts that aren't going to come undone. See how pretty that is? And again, you can adjust stitch length, stitch width, size, make them absolutely your own. So you can take something that is very simple and turning into something wonderful. And I know a lot of people, we concerned about our budgets. You can get an inexpensive towel. We have these scraps laying around, and you can wrap a loaf of bread in it. You can, tie it around a bottle of wine, something simple for a gift for anybody. And it's a Cabernet or Shiraz here, just in case anybody needs to know. That's Ed's favorite wine. I don't drink wine at all. I don't drink beer at all. And I know it sounds crazy, but I like me some tequila, but that's a different story. So this is where we are today. We are making these beautiful scallops. Tomorrow and Monday is our last one, and Jim's going to show everybody how he does his beautiful stockings. So they're fully lined. There's no seams or anything. So that's Monday. Tomorrow, I don't know yet. So hopefully we'll see you tomorrow at noon. If anybody has any questions, you can get a hold of me at support@amysews. Thank you for tuning in today. And I hope you have a wonderful day, because the more you know, the more you sew.